This is Kung Pao Enter the Minute, Minute 19. Opening frame.
The man in grey informs Master Payne that it is
It's a great honor having you beating random people in our town, especially that helpless man you just hit. Welcome.
We cut to the outside of a building. Well, it appears to be mostly forests, but we can't see them for the trees. Next we see Wimp Lo approaching Ling outside, telling her that
My finger points.
Ling, concerned, informs Wimp Lo that
Oh, you must be careful. Your confidence is disproportional to your abilities. You think losing is winning.
Wimp Lo takes Ling's statement and chews it over in his head, processing every single syllable and giving great consideration to the meaning of her warning before replying.
Huh?
The look on Ling's face reflects to the audience, but alas, she continues to tell us that the Chosen One has come to help them before adding,
I like him. A lot.
Wimp Lo cuts Ling off, letting her know that he has noticed her reactions towards the Chosen One, informing her that,
I'm a man too, you know. I go pee-pee standing up.
however, Ling does not seem to be impressed. Determined to win Ling's heart, Wimp Lo proclaims to her that he will defeat the Chosen One, Ling begging him to.
Please don't.
Undeterred, Wimp Lo kisses Ling on the cheek before running off, proclaiming,
I will defeat him.
the accompanying sound of his squeaky shoes as he runs towards the left of screen. A quick cut to Ling, and she is processing the scene with Wimp Lo and the kiss on her cheek. Is she going to give Wimp Lo the chance to prove his love for her, or will she continue to slowly overcome her shyness and prove her affections for the Chosen One? We don't find this out, however, because we cut back to the Crane School to watch several of its students training in the courtyard, and the final frame we see the Chosen One carrying what appears to be a small stack of wooden planks. Maybe this is a demonstration of his immense power and masterful skill in the martial arts, or quite possibly he is looking out to make a little tiny miniature dojo for Tangi. Stay tuned to find out.
My bet's on the dojo.
I really hope it's a little dojo. I am very into that idea.
I am once again, for the final time for at least this stack of minutes, speaking of stacks, I'm joined again by Connor Coulson of Travian Designs.
Yeah, I'm definitely stacked.
I'm fully stacked.
Yes.
You gotta say it with that burr in the voice.
Oh yeah.
You can get into radio.
I'm already in radio, just on the internet, with my beautiful singing voice.
I have that great... Hey, no, I'm not gonna go
Welcome to Krusty Burger, can I take your order? Why am I just doing all the voices on this podcast? I guess it's a sillier podcast.
Because it's Kung Pao.
I know, because on Prometheus by Minute, it's like, you are listening to Prometheus by Minute. This is episode 118. This has been my living hell for the past 3 years. Please get me out of here. Whereas, here I can be all just goofy and making voices and stuff.
I think that's why I loved... having this idea of trying to dramatically read the minutes, and it's taking like almost always longer than the minute itself, just adds a little bit of silliness to the thing. I find the more you try to over dramatize something like this, it's the funnier it kind of gets for me, well, at least for me.
Yes.
I'm not improving the movie, but I'm making at least something funny to listen to.
You're basically doing that, like, previously on kind of thing. Like in Clone Wars, they'll do that recap thing, and it's, kind of cheesy, and I dig it. I grok it.
I like, the Clerks animated series, the second episode is the flashback episode. I love subversive humor like that.
I do love when they make a two-parter, but they don't make the first part.
Yes! This is why I love comedy as a format. It just allows you to have some play with the idea of, well, just storytelling in general. I mean...
Yeah, it's really interesting how it's evolved, and especially with the internet, and I never thought I was really into comedy, because sitcoms and the kind of comedy, or like stand-up, none of that really appeals to me. I've got friends who are super into that, but...
Well, I think it depends on the country when it comes to a lot of these things, because I'm not a huge fan of American stand-up. I think the only American stand-up comedian
Actually, Australian comedians are very good.
I've not been a huge fan of Australian. It might be different now, but back when I was growing up, a lot of Australian stand-up comedy I just thought was utterly terrible. But again, the only American stand-up comedian I definitely will say 100% I love is George Carlin.
Yeah. Oh, genius.
Most of my stand-up stuff is...
Dave Chappelle.
I never got into Chappelle.
Oh, really? So nowadays we've got podcasts and we've got YouTube, and to me, a lot of those things are way funnier than anything that's scripted and planned.
Comedy is thriving on the internet.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem with comedy for me, personally, is that I don't like scripted stuff. I mean, sometimes scripted stuff can be funny,
Yeah.
But I think primarily what's funniest to me is it's all about that energy and it's about the social interaction.
Yeah.
They do say that laughter is primarily a social thing, and most instances of laughter is more about social bonding than actually finding something funny.
So talking about this in regards to what movie? UHF, Weird Al Yankovic's movie. So he was talking about how the best thing he ever heard about critics talking about comedy is that when a film critic is reviewing a comedy, the critic should be looking at the audience and not the movie. Because if the audience are reacting and the audience are laughing, that says a comedy is working, rather than I'm going to critique the cinematography, the mise-en-scene, and the acting of this comedy.
Yeah, that's not going to get you too far.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that really don't like. I don't get this, but it's definitely more of a Monday thing where people are like going, "Oh, I love it when I go to a movie, a packed movie, and everyone's silent." It's like, no, part of the shared fun of a movie is like the community, and if it's a comedy, people should be laughing.
Yeah, well, I don't want people talking, but yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's a
everyone's
different part of
getting
reaction.
into it, we don't get that a lot. I don't think Australians really do. I know Americans are they'll even stand
Yeah.
up and clap at the end of a movie. It's like,
Yeah.
the director's not there.
I've applauded movies. I grok that because I've enjoyed a movie. I'm going to applaud. I'm going to react. I've laughed in movies where people have been dead silent, and I don't give a fuck.
Well, I just watched the Made in the Abyss movie, and I was...
Is that about the Jim Cameron movie, The Abyss?
No, it's this anime movie where the art style's really cute. They're like these cute little kids and the most fucked up things happen.
Hang on, that's
But-
all Japanese animation.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot of jokes that did not land
Yeah.
with my audience, and I know absolutely that would have gotten more of a reaction in Japan. Especially, I mean, God, there's a lot of kinky humor as well. And these characters, well, some of the characters, it's hard to tell how old they are. I'm going, wait, did they just do that?
Again, Japan.
Yeah, did they just do that to like a 14-year-old? I don't. Oh my lord.
This character is 57 years old, but looks exactly like a 60-year-old schoolgirl. And she's also a badass mage warrior swordmaster. What the fuck, Japan?
And she's had like 3 kids.
Yes. Although, one of my friends who's a cosplayer in Malaysia still looks like she's about 16, and she has a kid that's slowly turning into a miniature version of her.
Horrifying.
It's like, god damn it! I think I'm not trying to be disparaging, but I'm not sure if she's as old as me or slightly older. And it's just like, no, you cannot be that old. That's just bullshit. What magic are you doing?
Good genes, man.
Lovely person, though. Loveliest person. But yeah, it's there's definitely a cultural thing with it. I think cultural and comedy is always going to be one of those things where if it's such an alien concept, it's always going to be a bit rough. This is why, to a certain degree, lowest common denominator humor does transcend easier. Like
Transformers, the Michael Bay
Yeah.
series is...
if there's a language barrier, sometimes intellectual humor has problems transferring over. But dick and fart jokes sometimes still funny.
Shia LaBeouf screaming. Yeah, works. Dogs humping each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and oh god, did we have to start talking about Bayformers on my podcast? I'm just gonna cut all. No, I'm not gonna cut all this out.
Well, I got to mention Transformers and I got to mention Star Trek, and I've done mostly Transformers, not so much Star Trek. I need to watch more Star Trek, I think.
There is comedy in Star Trek, and this is what some people
definitely,
don't realize, probably because they've only watched Discovery. Again, making jokes about Star Trek. Oh my god.
Where everyone's just screaming and crying and traumatized.
Yeah. Well, there's only like 3 characters you ever learn the name of, but that's beside the point. No, this is not also going to be turning into a screw Discovery. No, I've already broken the don't disparage Alex Kurtzman seal on this podcast, so I guess we're all in now.
Yeah, fuck Alex Kurtz, man.
Which is why I think someone like, say, Kung Pao it's also because it's the part of the gag is that it's dubbed, means that you could easily redub this into anything, as long as you get the gag that it's dubbed. And that's the funny thing, some people didn't realize that was the joke of this movie, that everything was dubbed. I'm not joking. That some critics hated the fact.
I was 10. I figured it out.
I mean, by the time where the dog barks, and then 2 to 3 seconds later, the sound of the bark finally
It's
happens.
amazing that they just did not understand what they were seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw an article recently. It was a collection of critics going back and looking at their old reviews and going, "Oh no, I was so wrong about that movie." And so, one woman watched Mean Girls, and she went, "Oh, here's another bullshit sexist high school drama." It's like, it's satire. How do you not see it's a fucking satire? It's one of the best satires, if anything. And yeah, this woman, 15 years later, went back and went, "Oh no, this is a masterpiece, and I'm an idiot."
Yeah. Well, I remember, Legally Blonde. That was a movie that...
Unironically popular.
Yeah, it was a popular film. It has fucking Reese Witherspoon and one of the Wilson brothers. I just can never remember which one because no one can. Okay, I'm having a joke at the film. I actually really enjoyed Legally Blonde. And I liked it because I was there going, wow, this is a very smart film. But it's laid in this cake of hair and dumb blondness and that's part of the commentary, and I loved it for it.
That's the thing is, and it's the same thing with Mean Girls, and it's such an issue that women face this in real life as well. It's just that you either have to be taken seriously or you can be a girly girl. You can't be both. And so if you're presenting this movie with, Reese Witherspoon with all the cute outfits and the hair and the makeup and everything, she can't, either she, the character,
she can't be a lawyer.
And this story couldn't actually have any substance or satire. No.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how fucking blindfolded some people are to blatant messaging in a movie. I think that's also one of the things about comedy that is, I think, so powerful with the genre is that it is a great way to spread a message. It's the sugar coating around the medicine pill to get people to eat it. Sometimes you can be subversive in a comedy that you can't be in a drama because people, and same with science fiction. Going back to Star Trek, there are comedic, not necessarily comedic episodes, there's lighthearted episodes, but there's also a lot of comedy in Trek that people just...
Or they do both at the same time.
Yeah, there's varying degrees, and I think I like some comedy that's just pure, 0 calorie, just make me laugh, and I like also comedy. This is why I absolutely fucking adore George Carlin. He was a genuinely funny guy.
But he had a point.
He was also incredibly smart. And yeah, his comedy was always had a bit of an edge to it, but he was always making a point. God damn it, I miss that guy.
Well, I think that's what makes all storytelling really powerful is when there's some kind of theme or message or something underlying it. And I think a lot of aspiring writers, fan fiction writers especially, they don't understand this because they're like, I like this character, I'm just going to write this character. Or I like a movie with...
I think that's where the Mary Sue trope comes from, is this fact of these people are just so invested in, I want to be a part of this world, and I want to have everything love me.
They totally miss the point of what made that story work in the first place. And oh my god, because I'm in the Transformers fandom now, and so many young girls adore Starscream, the Transformers Prime Starscream. It's like, oh, look at this cute little innocent blah blah blah. No, he would sell you to Satan for... he would sell you to Unicron for 1 corn chip. Yeah. So...
No. I think Starscream would sell you to Satan just so it could be at his bootlicking gift.
Yeah, and it's just... Fans often don't understand what they actually love about a thing, and that's fascinating to me. But also you see this in real... professional movies and books and stuff. Everything Vin Diesel's ever done is basically a Gary Stu. It's basically him being the kind of action badass hero that he's always wanted to be.
So I made this startling revelation in a recent vlog. I've never actually watched that much Vin Diesel stuff. I never really appealed me. But I did go and watch Bloodshot in the cinemas. I'm probably one of the only person that helped make that budget go back. Yeah. Although it never made its budget back. I ended up buying that movie in 4K. I love that movie. It is terrible. It is so terrible, but it's so funny.
Okay, I gotta check it out, man. I love a good bad movie. Yeah, So on that note, this really what Kung Pao really works, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's a comedy and it's not taking itself too seriously, and
It
so
does not take itself
inserting
at all seriously.
no, and so that self-insertion stuff is the humor. That's
Yeah.
what makes it funny. Even though he is the chosen one and he does all the cool kung fu stuff, he has a really ripped body. It never comes across as self-indulgent. I don't know how he made that balance.
You know how he made that balance? As much as the Chosen One is literally portrayed in this movie being able to physically lift himself off the air with his own breath. Or is that the next... No, that's the that's next minute. Damn it. Either way,
Next minute.
his power levels are so absurd in points of this film. And yet, there is the scene where he gets beaten to a pulp with staffs.
True, you're balancing it out.
It's clearly tongue-in-cheek. Everything about this movie is so firmly tongue-in-cheek. Literally, he has a tongue that has a creature in it. You can't get more blatantly, this is absurd.
Oh shit. Sorry, I just looked it up and A Bloodshot is on Amazon Prime now. I can watch it right now. I mean, not right now, I'm doing a podcast, but oh yeah, boys. I know what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, I will say watch that and then watch my vlog, available on Fanboy Crossing YouTube. I can't take Bloodshot seriously. It's just...
It's absolutely he's absolutely humorless, and the only reason why I think the first Riddick works is it was new, I think.
I think with Bloodshot, I think Vin Diesel knows what's going on. I think he knows this is not meant to be Shakespeare. He's just having a time being this dumb macho jock, super soldier, superhero, whatever the fuck he is. I kind of have a deep appreciation for dumb media. I love bad movies. I unironically love movies like Troll 2. They are terrible.
A friend of mine, we used to do bad movies and then he stopped showing up and he's just like, I don't know, I just feel like I want to spend my time watching really good movies. And I'm like,
No.
okay.
I think you can learn a lot from bad media.
Absolutely. And also, 90% of movies are garbage. Let's face it. Most movies that are produced are absolute crap.
I would rather watch a terrible movie that was made sincerely than the latest cynical, dry, drab bullshit from J.J. Abrams or Zack Snyder or Alex Kurtzman. No, and that's the thing. I've really gotten to that point where I think I'd rather... Again, this is kind of why I like The Room. As much as Tommy Wiseau is a monster and this movie is shite, it was a passion project. It was sincere. It was this one crazy man's crazy dream come to fruition. It has plots that go nowhere. It has storylines that make no sense. It has really bad acting. It has one of the worst sex scenes in modern day history. And belly buttons that have probably never felt the same ever again. But I will keep going back and watching that. There is movies that have been made in the last 5 years that I will never watch again if you put a bullet to my fucking head.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just that deeply cynical. So let me just do a quick measure. From 2013, that I'll never watch again.
Yeah. So Wimp Lo is talking to Ling, and I have to ask, is Wimp Lo, or the character serves as Wimp Lo, in the original movie, is he that much of an idiot? Because he seems like a little weenie.
No.
Just everything about his body language and stuff, he's a weenie.
Yeah, he is kind of a little bit... Okay, so in the original Tiger and Crane Fist, the main plot line is that there's these two schools, the Tiger School and the Crane School. And Ji Wang Yu is the last student of the Tiger School, and Liu Kang is the lead student of the Crane School. He's Master Tang's student. The whole idea is that the Tiger and the Crane have to combine together to become the undefeatable martial art. And the subtext of the movie is that this is what's also required to defeat Master Pain, who is the Chinese commander of the Japanese forces that are currently invading during the Second Sino War. I don't have my notes from the original stuff, but this is the time period where I was talking about in the series. So they have to train together, but also beating each other up. So those flashback scenes in Kung Pao is the original flashback scene where these two schools were supposed to merge, and the lead student at the time, who is in Kung Pao, is Ling's father and Master Tang. Ling's father actually lands the first strike on Master Tang, because they're supposed to be fighting to essentially first blood. Even though Master Tang wins the fight, he knows he got defeated, but Master Tang gets in a pissy huffiness and walks away from and forever splitting the two schools up. It's only when this greater threat comes up that they have to combine the forces. So part of the movie is Wing...
With your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
Yeah. I am Captain Wee Wee. I'm just going to start using Kung Pao characters. So Wimp Lo and the Chosen One in the original movie have to combine together to train together, so at least one of them can learn the process to combine the stars together to defeat Master Pain. What happens is that Wimp Lo is the head student of Crane School, but he's technically inferior to the Chosen One because the Chosen One is technically the head of the Tiger School, being the last surviving member. So he's all pissy because he's the subordinate. So yeah, in many ways, Wimp Lo's idea of like, but Master, I'm the Chosen One, is literally the character's motivation, except he is actually a competent fighter.
Nah, I don't believe it.
No, it's Wimp Lo's... sorry, I'm going to go back. I'm going to switch back to the original. Liu Kang's death in the original movie is actually to try and save Jimmy Wang Yu's character by at least diverting Master Pain's forces long enough so that he can master the Crane as well as the Tiger School to combine the martial arts together. The scene with the dummies, that is actually scenes from the original movie. They just put the hair and mustache on digitally. So that scene where the Chosen One is training with the wooden mannequins and the metal triangles is a direct scene from the original movie.
Oh, right.
And even the whole thing of like, Ling tending to his wounds and stuff like that, that was directly from the original movie. Just she's not quite as a psychotic bitch.
Also, squeaky shoes, as probably mentioned before, but that is just the best character affectation. I think that's the other good thing about this film, is that there is a lot of thought put into each individual character and making them distinct in some way, and having those recurring jokes.
Yeah. Even like Master Pain's bad jokes that everyone are kind of forced to laugh at.
Yes.
What do you get when you cross an owl with a bungee cord? My ass. What the fuck?
This is so good. Also, he still sound a little bit like Skeletor.
He does. He's got that he's kind of got that nasally thing going on. You kind of have to get your voice a bit up there. Hey, man, yeah.
Next, I'm going to do a deep dive into He-Man. I'm going to do a multi-part video essay.
Just a Saturday morning... that might not be a bad thing. A Saturday morning cartoon podcast.
Actually, maybe I should just expand it to do that. And basically, you just try and figure out what the hell any of this is and why any of it's happening.
Because here's the thing. Do you just do a random episode of each one? Or you just try and do one episode of each... of the first pilot episode of each cartoon? I mean... Because I'm going to say, pilot episodes are always interesting, but pilot cartoons are just usually another episode.
Yeah, wow, Transformers, that first episode is...
There's a lot of cheese in the 80s as well.
Love it. I love how camp it is.
And yeah, definitely, this is to the audience, definitely go watch like The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. It's amazing. Just the origins of the 80s toys and cartoon phenomenon is... Well, this is more of a RoboCop thing, but yeah, unbridled capitalism.
Yes. Yep. Last thing I wanted to say about Kung Pao is just this kind of parody dub genre. It's doing a lot better on the internet, and now we can do this on YouTube if YouTube doesn't take it down.
Yeah.
But it's always been this... Well, since we've had... Speaking of capitalism, since we've had copyright law, and I know you have a lot of opinions on it too.
Oh, I do.
It's a real shame that we have this firm distinction between what you can and can't do with properties that someone might not have done anything with for a long time, has no plans on doing anything with, but it's mine, so you can't have it.
The copyright trolls, or at least they're almost like patent trolls into a certain degree. It's almost the same concept of, I'm just going to take this idea, I'm going to keep it. And I think that's what's really a shame, where there's a lot of yeah, a lot of properties that could be benefited from a retelling or a reboot or even just a continuation. I've said this before. I'm not a fan of prequels, but I do have a small degree more appreciation for a continuation. Not necessarily direct sequels, because we've had just so many shit sequels, but I like when something's been given enough breathing room of time and then we say, what happened to these characters? That's why I think Blade Runner 2049 is a phenomenally good soft reboot of the Blade Runner universe, because it's like, time has passed, where are these characters now, and how has the world been changed from these actions? Because Blade Runner, it's not like it was going to be an earth-shattering revelation that was going to change society. The society of Blade Runner 2049, you're not going to see a dramatic change, but what happened to Deckard? Did he get the happy ever after? That's up for debate.
Yeah.
Is he a robot? That's also up for debate. But
I like that they didn't try to answer any of that.
or even specifically, I like that. God, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm blanking on Ryan Gosling's characters' names. I like how they made him into a replicant, but they're like, okay, we've changed. So after
Hang on, no, I know his name. So Joy calls him Joe, but yeah, what does he refer to other than? Because I think he's.
It's late at night, and we're on our third recording of the evening. I'm tired. I'm potted out now. But I like that they went, instead of just trying to put in another human Blade Runner, tell the same story again.
By the way, Agent
K. That's it. I knew it was something simple, but I just could not think of it for the life of me. Let's take the idea of what would happen to the replicants after the actions of Blade Runner. So we got a new batch of replicants. They don't have the issues of the old ones. And now we've got replicants hunting replicants more overtly. But what if he thinks he's a human?
Well, it's because there's a lot of great world building there. And I'm glad they just didn't let that go. And that's the thing. We live in a world, a lot of remakes and sequels and stuff, but you know, if it's done well, I think there's no reason why not. But
people shit on the MCU, but it's not like it's like a hastily cobbled together sequel like most sequels are. It's a narrative that's deliberately strung out, not necessarily strung out, but it's a continuing narrative across several films. But it doesn't feel like, oh, we're just repeating. Okay, yes, we've got repeating on beats, but we've not got repeating of character or repeating of specific plot.
So the thing is with Kung Pao is I think this is taken a little bit more seriously than, say, dubs on the internet. And I have to wonder, well, what's the difference? And a lot of that just comes down to the old media, and it's so funny listening to, you know, these people who are on the radio or on TV, especially like your breakfast TV shows, and they're just like, oh, this YouTuber, this non-legitimate person who wishes they were us. No, we've got more subscribers, we're making more money than you, we're more famous than you.
In regards to Kung Pao being the resident professional, being the guy who's doing a lot more analysis, I think a lot of it is literally, I think Steve Odekirk had an idea for a project. He found a movie he genuinely loved, and it became as much as an homage to the movie as much it was an homage to a genre. There's a lot. There's no cynicism here. There's no cynical bone in this entire movie. It's just, let's have fun. This is made with love.
I think that's what makes it endearing, because not that YouTube parodies and stuff will do this, but I think a lot of official Hollywood releases do have that cynicism, and there's got to be this edge, and there's got to be... Does this be wholesome? Can it just be wholesome, please?
Yeah, it is a surprisingly wholesome film, but it's also full of weird humor. It's full of maybe a little bit dated sexist humor, but it's also
but it's so childish that you kind of can't get angry at it.
It's like,
it's more like titties.
You can't really get angry at this film because it's not trying to be edgy or offensive. It's just trying to be funny, and it's just made with love. And I think the problem with, like, say, internet stuff is that a lot of stuff is like made for the clicks, or it's made for... There is sometimes a bit of cynicism, but there's also a lot of genuine love. I think this is why I like video essays more than I like shock or reaction stuff or shock commentary or some jackass raging at a camera.
I don't know, like Danny Gonzalez is really funny because he is commenting on the most outlandish shit and kind of poking fun of it because I think someone needs to. So I think there's validity in that.
In mainstream media, that's kind of why John Oliver is so significant compared to a lot of, oh, we're just comedians making funny jokes. He's like, no, he's actually trying to add the humor, but he's also trying to talk about a serious point and pointing out deep political problems, but still making dumb jokes.
And that's what good comedy should be. And
Yes.
I mean, not saying that Kung Pao really has a deeper message or anything, but
I haven't found one yet.
yeah, and maybe you will uncover one by the end of this. But
I might just invent one just to. I've got next minute to uncover the deep conspiracy of the erasure of Jimmy Wang Yu.
or the Illuminati, maybe.
I am going to follow that up. I am definitely going to follow that up.
Yes, but yeah, I think either comedy is most effective when it, like any other storytelling medium, there's an underlying theme or idea it's exploring, or it is homage to a genre, and I find some of the best comedies are an homage to a particular movie or a particular genre. So Austin Powers' Airplane, which was a direct remake of a movie that was in the public domain. Oh, no, it wasn't the public domain. But
it was a novel.
Bought it for but they bought the script, so there was a movie.
It was a movie. It was a novel called Airport. No, 0 Hour.
Yeah, but they didn't base it on the book. They based it on the movie, and they did a shot-for-shot remake and just changed the dialogue.
So there was a book called 0 Hour that got made into a movie called Airport, and basically Zuckers just went, we're just going to parody the shit out of this. And it's more closer to the original novel than Airport was, and it's... People love Airplane more than they've ever loved the original.
People don't even know the original.
I've actually ended up buying... I can't believe I never had a copy of this in my library. I actually ended up buying a Blu-ray of Airplane and the sequel, which is not that great, but it does have one of the great William Shatner cameos in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Airplane 2, the sequel. I'm a fan of stupid things like subtitles. That's why I like Enter the Fist and stuff like that. But like Airplane 2's subtitle was just called The Sequel. So Airplane 2, the sequel.
Electric Boogaloo. Can't go wrong with that.
I tend to use the Spaceball methodology of Spaceballs the blank. So a lot of my branding for my Fanboy Crossing is Fanboy Crossing the YouTube channel, Fanboy Crossing the Facebook page.
I like that.
It's one of those things where it's a joke that makes me laugh, and I think that's why I love Kung Pao. It's so much I want to make me laugh.
Yeah. Well, have you got any more notes for this minute?
Well, the other thing, because I don't know if I've actually ever mentioned this on this podcast or not. I've mentioned Ninja the Mission Force. I think I've mentioned it on this. If I have, I've not mentioned it. Ninja the Mission Force, mentioned it. But the thing that got me into the dubbing genre was an Australian film called Hercules Returns.
Yeah, which I've got in my watch later lists.
Yeah, and I love that film. And it's kind of terrible, but I love that film. And it's kind of a bit zero count. They have a capitalist critique in the movie. It's kind of embedded into the narrative surrounding the joke movie. But I think that's the first time I ever saw something was like someone took an original movie and deliberately lampooned it just by changing the voice. And I think that's where I got this appreciation for this particular genre. And I love Ninja the Mission Force. And part of me wants to do something like that more. I did it with the game. I would love to do a series or even a movie like that. I think if I had the time and the budget, I want to make something like that. I love this genre that much.
Yeah, even I'm tempted to do my own little parody.
Yeah, I think it should move on to the audio commentary. So Steve and Paul talk about the brief and yet utterly baffling idea they had for completely recoloring the movie.
Now, this is the shot we did when we were thinking of recolorizing the entire film. Do you remember that?
That's right. We were contemplating colorizing.
You were going to take it to black and white and recolorize the whole thing, and then we realized how insane that was.
Some more commentary on the age gaps of the characters and mentions the original actors' names in the scene, which I can't pronounce half the time.
Now, it may seem strange, but all of these original actors, to me, feel as... I feel like I shot the movie with them because we lived with these guys for so long, and they're all 25 years older now, basically. The movie was shot in 1976, so Ling and Wimp Lo here are now 25 years older. Ling's name is Ling Ling, and Wimp Lo is Lau Kar Wing.
In the What Are They Really Saying? This is a movie where it's mostly overdubbed from the original Mandarin, except for one point where someone goes... The audiobook, look, it's 19 episodes into this, you know I'm going to choose the most stupidest thing.
I go pee-pee standing up.
So, thank you for joining me.
I'm a man, you know. I go pee-pee standing up.
Oh, Wimp Lo, you die horribly, but we love you. So thank you for joining me on these.
I feel like I have some sort of emotional connection with these characters now.
Oh, I definitely have an emotional connect. 19 episodes in, I definitely have to have an emotional. It's almost like Stockholm Syndrome if it was actually real. I'm sure you feel about that with even terrible characters in Prometheus, like Holloway.
Oh yeah, Milburn and Fifield. Oh, they're my guys now.
Your boys.
My boys.
Third or fifth attempt, I don't know, I've lost count, but thank you very much, Connor, for joining me.
You are bloody welcome, mate.
And where can our viewers find you?
On Travian Designs, obviously, guys.
I
Have
know.
you not been listening?
You're 3 minutes into this utter madness, so you should know it by now, but yeah.
I've lost my shit. Okay, and then go on Patreon and I can give you things that no one else gets.
Last month of Prometheus by Minute?
Yes, so patreon.com/Travia Designs. You can get some of the last few episodes of Prometheus by Minute, and they go up a few days earlier than everyone else gets, and then you can get first 8 episodes of Covenant Minute and Legacy Minute right now. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, go check that shit out, and all the other various podcasts and film analysis of Ridley Scott things you hate.
I have very conflicting feelings about that man. I feel like if I ever meet Ridley Scott in person, I'd like impulsively punch him, and then I'd feel sorry about it, and I would apologize, and it would be just very confusing for me.
You'd probably punch him in the face, hug him, then punch him in the face, hug him, punch him in the face.
Yeah.
And just, he'd be so utterly bewildered, but that's probably the same time it's like, oh, this guy must have seen Covenant and Prometheus, and then watched Raised by Wolves.
I'm so conflicted.
You can find me on Fanboy Crossing. Look for this podcast and the other one that we do called 60 Seconds to Comply, which is all about RoboCop, and it's a little more serious than this most of the time. We do laugh and we do joke and we do talk Star Trek and we do talk other things that aren't RoboCop, but other than that, go give me money on Ko-Fi and Patreon because I need to replace my computer from keeps exploding. But then again, this is 2020, so things just explode all the fucking time. Beyond that, thank you for watching, listening, whatever. It's late, I'm tired. See you next week. Bye.
Jumanji.